We have a major report on the whole Corey Perry situation, as Gary Bettman allows Corey Perry to play again this season. And some teams have already shown interest in Corey Perry. So we're going to be talking about everything we know so far in this video. But before we do, we noticed that about 83% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to join the road to all the Blackhawks success in the future with Macklin Celebrini, Connor Bedard, hit the sub button. It's going to be a very good time when that time comes. And, you'll get all your Blackhawks news here as well. But like I said, Corey Perry has reportedly been allowed to return to the NHL this season. Now, he wasn't barred from the NHL, but there would have been a lot of scrutiny if he had returned without a meeting with Gary Bettman and some NHL executives. So this came out from many, many people all at the same time. This one here is from Charlie Roumeliotis on the NBC. Corey Perry, whose contract was terminated by the Chicago Blackhawks on November 30th, met Tuesday with NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman and is cleared to sign with a new team. Perry was not technically ineligible to play, but teams definitely will be wary of signing him unless the league gave him the blessing. And that exactly happened. Corey Perry wasn't barred, but he's now confirmed being able to return to the NHL this season. And it's going to be a very interesting thing to see over the next few days and weeks whether he does return. So I know, Noah, we were just talking about this, on our own time. Corey Perry, we assumed that he probably would be back this season, depending on what the NHL thought. We knew it wasn't anything illegal. There was no legal issues with it. It was just something with the team. And, that being said, he's allowed to return to the NHL. So what do you think about this? Do you think he'll return? Do you think he'll take some time off to, give his thoughts and chances on what could happen in his future? What do you think?
Well, there's interest in the league. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But, I still think he's got something left in the tank. Obviously, the whole situation with Chicago was, dicey. We've gotten to that before. We won't get into that in this video. But, yeah, I think he's still got, some stuff left in the tank. He's a former 50-goal scorer, former Hart winner. He's played on some playoff teams. A team kind of on the verge of making the playoffs could at him, and they could completely go to a playoff contender. So I'm all for Corey Perry signing. I think he is going to sign. Maybe a Toronto, maybe a Boston. Where we'll check that out in a little bit. But yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he still has a lot left in the tank. Actually, it was only a week before he got his contract terminated that Luke Richardson, coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, was saying that you're going to have to kick this guy out of the league, and it did kind of happen. But they're going to have to kick him out of the league if he wants to retire, because he was on pace for not a career high, not a season high in points, but at his age, it was a very good point total to be on track for. He had 9 and 16 games with the Blackhawks. We know how bad that team's been, and how, shallow, I guess you can say, the offensive roster is now with the injuries, and even before. So being able to put up that point total with the Blackhawks, very good sign for any playoff team that is looking for a guy like Corey Perry. We know that you love playing for him, you hate playing against him. That's the way he rolls, and you want that kind of style of player for the playoffs. Now, although this may be, a good opportunity for a lot of teams, there's still another bit of concern about this whole contract issue. With the contract termination made, Corey Perry, an unrestricted free agent, he is able to sign with any interested team, still productive, had 9.16 games, like I said, for Chicago, playing nearly 20 minutes a night at his age, which is absolutely fantastic. But one other bit of business is possible for the NHLPA to appeal of his termination. The union has still until late January to decide if it wishes to do so. Now, we talked about this when all this stuff went down, and that basically means that the NHLPA can file a grievance for if his contract was wrongly terminated, due to it not being any legal issues, not being anything, illegal. I really don't think this will happen. It's still a chance. That means that if it does get appealed, he will have his contract reinstated with the Blackhawks, making, $4 million or whatever he was making in the deal with the Blackhawks. So there's still a chance that could happen. He might wait until late January, early February to sign with a team to make sure nothing gets in the way of him signing with another team. So I didn't say we'll see him sign any bit yet, but Noah, do you think they're going to actually file the grievance to the NHLPA? Do you think this is just something that's going to be lingering around until late January, or do you think they're actually going to take action on this?
No, I think they're just trying to, get this off their case. Obviously, everybody has their speculation as what Corey Perry actually did, but I think they're just trying to get out from under this and completely avoid any trouble that they have to deal with. So I don't think they'll file for anything.
Nah, easiest thing to do is just let it go. Let it go. Let another team take him if he wants. Let him retire. Do what he wants. But I don't think he would have had this meeting with Gary Bettman if he were to retire. I don't think there's any sign, any outlook on the future of Corey Perry retiring yet. He's a guy who seems like he could play like a Jaromir Jagr age, like 50 years old, still go skating around the ice, laying a few hits, scoring a few goals. That's something that I see Corey Perry doing in the foreseeable future. So there's a few reports that have led to Corey Perry's interest from teams. We're going to start off the first one, which is a pretty credible one from Carlo Koliakovo. He said, my understanding is that there's mutual interest between the Leafs and Corey Perry, and we discussed that with Mike Johnson. Now, this would be, one of the landing spots that I figured Corey Perry would end up going to. Obviously, when he was on Montreal, there was a lot of back and forth between those two teams. A lot of hatred for Corey Perry from Leafs fans, but he may flip the switch and join the Maple Leafs, and I think that would be an excellent idea. They tried to get a guy like Corey Perry in Tyler Bertuzzi, in Max Domi, in Ryan Reeves, and, none of them go to the level of Corey Perry with the mix of offense, physicality, getting in your head, living rent-free in there. And it is just a perfect landing spot in my mind for, a Corey Perry at his age now. So, Noah, what do you think about the Maple Leafs? Obviously, this is one that they're looking forward to, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they've been looking for this type of player for a while. I think, a bit of sandpaper can put the puck in the back of the net. And, I mean, that's what Corey Perry does. I mean, he'll get in your face and he'll taunt you and he'll do everything, and then he'll score 10 goals on the season, or he'll score some big goals in the playoffs for you. So, I mean, if you look at that Leafs lineup, I mean, yeah, they have Ryan Reeves, who's going to make the hit, but he's not going to really score a goal. I mean, it's Ryan Reeves. I mean, they tried to get that in Tyler Bertuzzi, like you said, as well, and that hasn't really been working out that great. So, I mean, Corey Perry is a perfect fit for the Leafs. I mean, obviously there's some salary cap. The Leafs just signed William Nylander, which is going to be, well, I guess that takes account next year. But, I mean, there's all sorts of salary cap issues with the Leafs. But, I mean, I love Corey Perry on Toronto.
Yeah, Corey Perry signed a $4 million deal with the Chicago Blackhawks. That was to reach the salary cap floor, however.
Yeah.
But the year before, we seen him sign with Tampa, or the year before that, but signed a 2-year deal with Tampa at, I believe it was league minimum or something along. It was like $1 million or something very low, So he's not looking for money at this point. He's just looking to play, which suits the Toronto Maple Leafs excellently. That's exactly what they want. Someone who play for no money at all, basically, playing for free, and the Leafs are the perfect spot for that. But we also have one more team that we've seen, but the Leafs were obviously the number one. We've seen a lot of fans, a lot of reports coming out that the Leafs are interested. This is probably who they want to get, and this is who they really need to get, in certain sense of the imagination. But this one here comes from Phil Carter. Now, I do not know his credibility. His bio on Twitter says that he's been a Boston sports reporter for 16 years, and he says the Boston Bruins have made a pitch to Corey Perry. Now, this is another one where I think is another very good fit. He is a Bruins-style player. He's that guy like a Marchand, a Lucic, of the early 2010 era, those style of players, and that's exactly what the Bruins need to get back to. They have a lot more skill than they used to back in the day, but they need to go back a bit to that grittiness, and I think it would be a very good fit for the Bruins as well. Now, what do you think about the Bruins on this one? They're playing very well, and I think it'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah. I think I like this more than Toronto, to be completely honest with you. I've just said previously I like Toronto and hit the fit, but this is the perfect fit. I mean, he plays the Bruin style his whole career, He's big bad Bruin, like you said, like Lucic, like Marchand, their whole style of play. I mean, again, salary cap issues in Boston, but they could somehow figure it out, rig it up, make it work. I think this would be fantastic.
Yeah, one thing about Boston, it's a lot easier for them to make that salary cap happen than the Maple Leafs. If he were to sign, multi-year, like if you want to sign 2 to 3, I don't see Corey Perry signing a 5 to 8 year deal. No chance. No sense of the imagination that will ever happen. But, in my mind, I think it's between these two teams. We haven't had anything too early yet. It's only been a day since we've known that he can return to the NHL and likely will. But there's also a lot of teams that you're going to have to assume will have interest. But these two are the teams that, in my mind, before anything came out, before we knew anything, that these were likely going to be the destinations that the highest chance, the highest possibility of signing him. It's going to be a playoff team at this point. Not going to be a team like the Blackhawks who signed him to help along with Connor Bedard and to get to the salary cap floor. So it's going to be a playoff team, but we have still lots of time. I would assume early February until he does actually sign to get rid of this whole grievance with the NHLPA stuff. But, let us know in the comments below where you think he'll go. There's lots of opportunities for Corey Perry to sign in the NHL. I'm sure lots of teams are going to be wary about, the whole incident that happened, but there's going to be teams that are more focused on a cup rather than that kind of stuff. So let us know in the comments below. We'd like to know. We'd like to see if there's any different ones that we haven't thought of. But, that's all we got. Thank you for watching. We're signing out. See you later.